In this video, I want to talk about the power of ChatGPT as a helper in terms of writing programs and code. Now, this lecture applies to you whether you are a coder or you're completely new. If you know coding well, then this is your chance to increase your productivity by 10. Coding job that used to take you 10 hours to do because you had to go to Google and Stack Overflow and here and there to get the right type of code, copy paste it, edit it and run it. Now you can save lots and lots of hours by telling ChatGPT to write the code for you. All you need to do is learn how to prompt it right so that it gives you the code exactly the code that you are looking for. On the other hand, if you're completely new to coding and you have never done it before, this is your chance to learn. Because now, thanks to these LLM models, you don't really need to understand how the underlying syntax of these coding languages work. All you need to do is understand the logic behind the code and how you can break it down into steps and get the code written from ChatGPT. And even in that process, ChatGPT can tremendously help you out by teaching you at each step what needs to be done next. And if you run into errors, you can paste those errors into ChatGPT too, and it will help you understand what the error was. With that in mind, in this lecture, we're going to cover and build 3 different prompts. First, we'll create a hangman game, which is essentially a guess the next word game where you get a limited number of attempts to guess what the word is, and you can guess the alphabets which are included in the word. Next, we'll create a word count app. If you recall from the previous lectures, we asked ChatGPT 3.5 to give us the word count and it failed to do it. This time we're going to ask GPT to give us the code so that we can run it in Google Colab and create our app for us outside of Chat. And lastly, we're going to learn how we can leverage ChatGPT to create HTML and CSS pages for our landing page websites and how do we tweak them and end. So to start with the first project, let's start with the hangman. I gave ChatGPT a very simple prompt saying, explain the hangman game. Explain step by step to a non-coder the logic of writing the code for hangman. And it comes back with a list of steps. First it says, set up the game. Then it says, start guessing, update the game state. What does this mean? So if I guessed right, then it needs to update one of the letters in the game. If I guessed wrong, then it needs to be counted as one of the failed attempts. And I get a limited number of attempts before I. Plus, it suggests additional features like the difficulty of the game if you want to choose. Should it directly move to the next game and give us a new word once the game is over, and so on and so forth. Next, what I did was I asked it, write the code for me to be able to play the game using Google Colab. Now, if you don't know Google Colab, don't worry, just go to your Chrome browser and type Colab. The first link that will open up will be from the Google official website. And essentially, all Google Colab is an online Python environment provided to you by Google. So you don't have to download and spend hours creating your own Python environment. If you're new, this is the best place to start. Open a new notebook, copy paste the code and start running it writing. So I will not even go into the detail here to learn the game and understand the code in terms of what it has done here. All I need to do is copy the code, paste it here, and I run it. And now it's asking me to make a guess. Let's go with A and E because you always touch the vowels first. U, O, go with S, A, L, and I lost the game. The word was mystery this time. So very basic example of how to create a hangman game within Google Colab using ChatGPT for the programming. Next, let's try build the word count app. This time, I gave my prompt as create a word count app with the button for me inside Google Colab. Remember, I always mention inside Google Colab because I want ChatGPT to give me the code accordingly so that I can run it within the Google Colab environment. This time once again, it gives me a bunch of code, actually in 2 snippets this time. All I need to do is copy paste the code. Side note, if you want to understand how the code is written, you can always go back and ask it on ChatGPT that I'm new to coding and I'm trying to understand. Can you help me understand what you wrote? And you can actually copy bits and pieces of it, paste this part here and ask it, can you explain me this part specifically? And it will do the job of doing that for you. So for now, I will copy the 2 snippets and I will paste them in a new workbook. And now if I run the code, it's making an error because I made a mistake here. Now it's asking me to type in some words. So I will say this is saw. If I click on count of words, my answer should be 3. And that's the answer I get. So my word count app. Very simple, basic, powerful technique of learning how to code and coding out your own projects using Coder. Next, let's talk about HTML and CSS files. So here I specifically said new job because I did not want ChatGPT to think that we're working on the same word count app. I wanted it to know that we're starting with a new project. Now I said, let's create an HTML page for landing page. So I'm creating a website page, a landing page for my website in HTML format, so .html file. And I said, I want 3 sections. I want a header, I want text and I want a bullet. And I want you to fill in the text or related to prompting guide. So GPT goes and creates the HTML structure for me. I can copy paste this from here and I can paste it in a text file and change the file format to .html, which will do the job for me. But I'm lazy, so I asked it, I need a downloadable link. And GPT does exactly that for me and gave me a link to work with. Now, if I open this link, this is exactly what I see. And that's what I asked for: a header, and then 3 sections. One is a bullet list about prompting guide and one is a basic list. So it's working the way I expect. Next, I asked it to update the CSS for me. What is CSS? CSS is the element of a website that controls the design and the format and the colors and all those sort of. So I said, add a CSS element to it. I want Popple font, which is a specific type of font, and red color. So my font should be in red color now. Now, if I go and see the new version, this is exactly what I wanted. The font is Popple and the color has been updated to red. The last thing that I want to talk about here is that when you try coding yourself, you will run into situations where you will make mistakes. So if that is the case with you, you can always use ChatGPT to correct your code for you. Let me show this to you with an example. Let's say I added these 3 words intentionally here to make sure that my code. Now what I can do is I can copy the code and the error it gave into ChatGPT. So here I copied the code and then I copied the error. Without providing any other instruction, GPT was able to understand that the problem exists at this word, widgets 1, 2, 3, and that's exactly what I messed up here. And it tells me an alternate code that can help me do the job. This is extremely powerful, guys. GPT is the expert coding mentor that you always wanted. Even with 3.5, the complexity of code that it can do for you is immense, and it's one of the greatest abilities of ChatGPT. So do try it out, and if you have any issues, shoot me a message. I'll try my best to help you out.